Oh no, we are live right now, ladies and gentlemen. No, I will not be taking this man out. This is one of my favorite people on the planet Earth. Yes, the planet Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you don't know this man, you should. He hails from Chicago. He stands about 6 foot tall, weighing whatever the hell he wants to weigh. Film critic, black comic, coming in from Eman's movie reviews, it's my homie, Emmanuel.
What's up, man? Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
What's going on with you, brother?
Man, I'm working. Like right after this, I'm gonna be working again. I got a lot of stuff I gotta hurry up and work on.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to keep him too long, but he's going to give us some exclusive content while we're here. Because you know what we do on this channel. The goal of this particular segment of my channel is to bring you guys some of the best YouTubers, social media influencers in the world. Eman is definitely one. He has his ear to Hollywood. He has his face in front of the camera. And Eman, I got to say this. I got to hate on you a little bit. I got to say this.
Oh, my.
You have a face for YouTube. Unlike people who have a face for radio, you have a face for YouTube. And I just got to say, you and B. Avery make me sick. B. Avery got the voice, you got the face. You see why I'm always over here having to sweat my ass off to get reviews? Always sweating.
You know what? You're right. Now that you think about it, Avery does have a smooth little radio type of voice, announcer voice. So yeah, that's man. Yeah, now I'm jealous.
Yeah, man. So, oh God. So, ladies and gentlemen, you might have seen this brother all over the news here recently for Recast T'Challa. I've seen him on Fox. I've seen him on WGN. I've seen him on the Chicago News. I've seen him on MSNBC. Hell, I think I even might have heard something about the Breakfast Club coming up. I don't know. But he's everywhere talking about Recast T'Challa. And we're going to get there, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna probe this man for why he got the movement started, what it takes to be a black film critic, barriers he's had to overcome being a black film critic, and what it's been like to be in the YouTube space doing comic reviews. But first, Eman, tell the people a little bit about what got you started in YouTube.
So for YouTube, I mean, really it all started with doing film criticism, right? So I was just on Facebook like everybody else. I think I had just seen The Dark Knight and I was like, yo, this movie was dope, you know, and I was just going off on it. And then, you know, ain't nobody even pay no attention. Then the next movie I saw, I posted some stuff and the next one. And then after a minute, I just kind of stopped. And then people was like, hey, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, what did you think about this movie? And I was like, I didn't know y'all was checking for me like that. I didn't know y'all cared. So, you know, I started the website, and then sooner or later, people were like, "Yo, you gotta do a fan page," and then you know all of this. And then at some point, I started realizing I was like, "Man, yeah, writing reviews are cool and all, but I really love video. Like, I love to create what's in my mind because I have a very active imagination. If you've seen any of my theories, you would know my imagination can go some places." So I was like, yo, I really want to find a unique way for me to unleash some of that visual creativity with my reviews. And it was at that point that I started in like 2015 on YouTube. Okay. And, you know, there's some lessons that you learn hard way, you know. I mean, it was like, I want to say in 2018, 2019, I went to WakandaCon to do a panel because one thing that I realized was that there are unique challenges that Black YouTubers, you know, and social media influencers go through that, you know, nobody tells you about, that you don't really, you know, experience and stuff. I mean, just a quick example would be something like, you know, if you're a white YouTuber, for example, or even if you're Hispanic or whatever, no one's calling you the N-word. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to deal with random trolls that tell you those type of things. So, you know, I usually tell people like, hey, you might want, when you setting up your channel, go ahead and your little defaults in the settings, go ahead and type those words in. Whatever words trigger you, whatever words you don't want to have to deal with, put them in the banned word section, because again, those are not things that the average YouTuber is going to have to deal with or know about. And you know, it's little things like that. It's those little things that you come across. But other than that, man, I mean, it's been nothing but pure. Well, no, let me not lie. I don't want to lie on the program, because it has ups and downs. It has ups and
It
downs,
does.
as I'm sure you know, right? Like,
yes,
there are times you're gonna be busting your butt for hours, for days, editing, shooting, writing, all of that for a video. And I can tell you, it's tough when you put in over a day's work into a 10-minute video and you only get 10 people watch it. You know what I'm saying? And it's tough. I remember I was 135 videos in with maybe 500 subscribers or something like that, and that was over the course of like 3-4 years. Because some people think like, oh man, you made it. I'm like, look, I just got here. Like, I just got here. You know what I'm saying? Like, because prior to that, I was grinding with no revenue, no payback, nothing. You know, so it's definitely a grind. But the thing is, and I tell people this all the time, you have to make sure it's your passion. You have to put in that work like nobody's watching. You gotta make those videos because you care about it, and not because you got a whole bunch of people. The people will come. You know what I'm saying? And that was something I had to kind of learn right when I was about to quit. I was just about to quit YouTube. I want to say it was maybe in 2017, 2018. I was getting ready to quit because, like I said, I had 130 something videos out. I ain't had no real subscribers. People would chime in here and there, but that was it. And I wasn't seeing a return. And what a friend of mine told me was, I was also about to quit my profession, because he's a photographer. Actually, he's a big time photographer. He shoots for ESPN, like he's big time.
Oh wow.
And this guy was like basically telling me, he was like, yo, what you're doing right now is creating your portfolio, because that's what I had to do. I had to go do all those free shoots and do all these things, because I knew when the big opportunity came up, ESPN, then they could see all my work. And when he told me that, it locked in, and I was like, okay, I might not have the followers right now. I might not have the views that I want right now. But when new people come in, they're going to see a library of all the work. And that, you know, was one of the things that saved me in terms of mentally keeping the progress going. And you know, I had a couple videos go viral. Shout out to the Avengers and everything related. And yeah, the rest was history from there.
So speaking of one of those videos, I'm going to play, when I bring my guests up here, who I believe are some of the top people on social media, I always bring the artwork that they put up that got me sucked in. So in just a second, I'm going to play what got me to your channel and what got me following this man. But first, let me shout out our young brother, B. Avery, coming through with the $20 super chat. And for that, I'll give you this video, my man, to say thank you. I know you a gym guy, and if you see this in your gym, run. Do not ask.
The hell?
Don't ask me, man. Don't. That is not a move I suggest anybody do in the gym. But B. Avery, I appreciate it.
I ain't never seen that, bro. I ain't never seen that.
Eman, there is no such thing as an exercise called the praying mantis in your drawers. None. Zero. Never seen it before in my life. So
I'm sure them glutes are getting tight or something. Something's working.
If the right person walk behind him, they'll get real tight very, very quick. But the video that brought me into Eman, like he said, Avengers, and we're going to take a look at it, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the content that is on his channel.
What's up, everybody? It's me, Eman, from Eman's Movie Reviews. After Avengers Infinity War, there was a huge question looming around the internet, and that was, what was going on with Bruce Banner? Why couldn't he turn into the Hulk? Was it because Loki was impersonating Bruce Banner? Was the Hulk just too afraid after Thanos laid them hands on him? Today, I'm going to try and explain the real reason why Bruce Banner was not able to turn into the Hulk. Ever since Avengers 1, Banner has been letting the Hulk come out only to fight. He's been using the Hulk, and the Hulk hates that. As Banner mentioned in Thor Ragnarok, usually both him and Hulk have control at the same time. But during Ragnarok, Hulk threw Banner in the trunk for about 2 years. So now it's just a big issue about who gets control. Does Banner get to use the body all the time, or does Hulk get to use the body all the time? So what we're getting from Thor Ragnarok, Avengers Infinity War, and the upcoming Avengers 4 film is a story about control between Banner and the Hulk. In Avengers Infinity War, we hear Banner say something like, "Hulk, we're gonna have to work this out, buddy." If I had to guess, in Avengers 4, both Hulk and Banner are going to find a way to share control of their body. Because ever since Avengers 1, the MCU has not shown Hulk any level of respect. They continuously prop him up to be the strongest there is, and then they use Hulk as a plot device to show how powerful or great someone else may be.
That's when I knew this brother was great. That's when I knew this brother was. I was like, I was like, honey, I done met another black dude who know comics like I do. I got to support. I got to find this dude. I got to call him. And next thing you know, ladies and gentlemen, this video for Eman. And Eman has got 2 videos. And Eman, you know it's hard to get this. My man has 2 videos that went over 1 million views. So Eman, let's talk about that. So people might think that your channel is about comics, but that's not the breadth of your content. Right. So talk about those 2 videos going viral and talk about the overall mission of your content.
So here's the thing. I started off with movie reviews, right? That was the bread and butter. I mean, it's called Eman's Movie Reviews, But one thing that I started to learn was that you can do whatever you want on these YouTube channels, right? Like you don't have to pigeonhole yourself to just one thing. So at some point I was like, let me try something different. I think I had done like a trailer reaction, to a video. I think it was to Black Panther actually, when that came out. And, just doing something different, I saw a spike in the numbers and I was like, oh, okay, let me try something else. And then, I did like some little theory videos here and there, and I saw another spike and I was like, okay, if the movie reviews are only getting like 1,000 views or something like that, but the theories are getting like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, let me go ahead. And that's when I started to realize that like people enjoy, not just the theories in general, but just the unique thoughts. If you have a unique perspective, a unique thought on something, I think that is something that will draw people into your channel because 1, it's something that they haven't thought about, and 2, it also informs them about you and how you think. I mean, a follow-up that I did for that video was how Marvel has failed the Hulk, just because like, hey, y'all ain't shown this guy any love ever since the first Avengers movie, but it's just one of those things that like once you see a taste of something that's working, then you just start to move over. And of course, during this time, we were all getting hyped for Avengers Infinity War. That was like everybody was thirsty to just get anything. So to me, anytime I had an idea, if I had a thought, a prediction, whatever, I went ahead and just did it because I was like, give the people what they want. But yeah, you're right. Like it's not just comic book stuff, but if that's what people like, that's what they like.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Just amazing. Got me in and has kept me here the whole entire time, grown a nice channel. And with that growth, Eman, at times you have certain challenges, you have barriers, and then you have your triumphs. So I first want to talk to me about some of the barriers of being an African-American film critic. Not just a film critic, but you do comics. And what I've learned in this space is there are us in the comic space, yes, but just not to the degree that we have us and everything else going on YouTube. Yeah. So how have you been able to overcome that barrier? And what would you say would be the biggest obstacle to someone who might consider themselves a Black nerd or someone who considers themselves keeping it real? Because you keep it real. When the comics ain't doing what they supposed to and they sliding the minorities, you have been front and center about what those slights are, and you haven't taken a back seat to what some would say advancing your narrative in white America. So talk to us a little bit about those things.
I mean, first and foremost, if anybody is starting off, you have to set the tone, right? Like if you come in and you just playing it safe, you just kind of sort of, taking a back seat to your commentary and your thoughts. And let's just say you build up a following. Well, if you get to the point where you like, you know what, I'm about to keep it real, you might lose that initial following because that's not what brought them in. They wanted the safe stuff. So I would just say that whatever tone you want in perpetuity, that's the tone you really want to start off with. So one thing I always wanted to do was like, I wanted to keep my channel like spoiler free. You're not going to have a lot of cursing or nothing on my channel. I try and keep it clean, because also my kids watch my stuff too. So, I want to keep it relatively, family friendly. But to your question about doing film criticism and stuff while Black, here's the problem. So when I first started out, there wasn't much of a role model. I don't know if you can name Black film critics from 5 years ago, 7 years ago. I was struggling. Like the only ones I knew were, not Black, but Roper and Ebert, and that's all I knew was just older white guys.
When you say that, you mean professional, not people that
like
professional,
not Joe Schmo that your cousin Pookie that talk about the movie back door. No, I'm talking about like people that do it in the public space, in the public eye. I personally just had not seen that. And I wasn't reading newspapers or nothing. I was just talking about like, I ain't see him on social media. I ain't see him on YouTube. I ain't see him like just, in the general area. And I didn't see them in the blurred sphere as well. So for me, I was just kind of like Thanos. I was like, all right, I got to do this myself, And for what I kind of started to discover was that unlike when you have a profession like this, let's just say you're white, you can Google this, you can Google that, you'll find resources to teach you how to do it. But at the same time, they won't teach you how to do things if you're Black in your lens and your perspective, because we do come from a different perspective than our counterparts, right? And that was something I didn't see a lot, which meant I had to pave my own path. And unfortunately, you learn the hard way with certain things. So, for example, one thing they don't talk to you about is dealing with PR, public relations. And this is different in every market. You have to learn how to work with the PR agencies because they're the gatekeepers. They're the ones that give you access to the screeners. They're the ones that, give you access to interviews. When I was starting off, nobody taught me any of this stuff. I remember the first movie screening I went to was Straight Outta Compton. I went into that movie. I waited in line like everybody else for hours. I got in there. I saw the movie. I released my my review like a month and a half early. I dropped my review. Got a nice little bump in my views and all that. Then all of a sudden I'm hearing from the PR folks like, excuse me, you just violated the embargo. I'm like, what's an embargo? Like, what are you talking about? And they were like, the embargo is the date that if you watch a screening, you can't post about it until that date. And I was like, how was I supposed to know that? And they were like, well, in the invites, you would know that. And I was like, y'all didn't invite me. So if you didn't invite me as press, because they send you a formal invitation if you're press, but they didn't acknowledge me as press. So you see, this was a weird space to be in where like, y'all want to treat me as press, but y'all don't give me the access of press, but then you want me to follow the rules of press, but I don't know the rules. So there was all this weird confusion, all these unwritten rules that nobody knew. And for me, I started getting in trouble with things because there were so many things that were unprofessional, but you don't know that unless you're a professional,
Right.
So I would say that's one of the challenges, at least, of being a minority, because you don't have those guidelines spelled out for you. And then even after I was like, okay, I'll meet your rules, I'll follow this, I'll follow that. Then you start getting into this trap of you don't have the numbers, because your numbers are your currency. You got to have the views. You got to have the unique visitors to your website. You got to have the numbers. And if you don't have the numbers, you don't have the followers, the subscribers, whatever, it's hard for you to get access. It's hard for the PR company to justify giving you access to something, whereas they can give it to somebody else with a huge following. So now the problem is it's a chicken and the egg type of situation. Well, if I'm an up and comer, how am I supposed to get people to come to my site if I don't have the access to give them something to come see? I'm pretty sure if I was the first person to review Spider-Man No Way Home before everybody else, I'm gonna get a million hits.
Yes.
It'll be crazy. But I can't give you the views if I don't have the access, and you don't want to give me the access if I don't have the views. What do you do? So that, again, another challenge that you don't know. And even after you get over that, because and this is just cheap advice for people, like, if you want to bypass that because you don't have the numbers, go work for a bigger outlet. Go work and write, or maybe work for like movietickets.com before they got bought out by Fandango. I started working with them in a partnership, and that gave me access, because I wasn't coming as E-Man. I was coming as movietickets.com. So that got my foot in the door. You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So like that's a easy way to kind of jumpstart that initial hurdle of trying to start from scratch. So hit your name to a bigger outlet, and that can get you in. But even when that happened, I still found myself getting pigeonholed into only urban content.
Oh boy, Tyler Perry.
So, you want this Tyler Perry movie, don't you? And I'm sitting there like, I mean, I can do more than Tyler Perry, like, now if you want me to interview Tyler Perry, sure, like that's one thing, but like I like sci-fi, I like horror, I like comic book movies, I like thrillers, I like mystery, I like drama. Like, yo, I can review more than just Black stuff. And that's kind of the issue. And it's not just Black folks, by the way. I've heard that even from our Hispanic, brothers and sisters, LGBTQ brothers and sisters. Like, they will get pigeonholed in those little lanes, and that's it. They won't give you the general assets and stuff. So it took a lot to prove to them that I could do more than just Black content. Because I mean, even to this day, if you go on my channel and look at a lot of my interviews, it's Black, right? And then maybe if you see someone that's not Black, and here's the rub, it's not like they're giving me Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, or nothing like that. They'll be like, no, you get the director, or you get the writer, so like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, okay, we're not gonna give you the Black person, but we're gonna give you the writer. And then it's gonna be like, well, who's checking for the writer of this movie? Like, everybody's looking for the main actor. Can I talk to the bigger name talent that's actually going to get me views? So it's a constant struggle. I still listen, even with my platform right now, I still have that struggle. I still have to convince people, no, give me more than this faceless person that's not going to get me headlines, and it's not going to get you the attention that I don't even know if you think it's going to get you attention. Like I'll say, well, no, I don't want to, because I don't want to out any studios or whatever, but let's just say we were talking about Captain America, for example, right? And I'm not saying this happened, but if I wanted to talk to Chris Evans, that probably won't happen. You know, they probably
What?
wouldn't even give me Anthony Mackie. They'll be like, "Oh, do you want the assistant writer on the project?" Like, for what? Like,
Assistant writer.
you know, like that's it. The writer. I mean, I guess,
Now,
but
I will say
that ain't
this
going
in
viral.
defense. The only it would work if the writer was someone who was on social media doing a
Right.
lot of stuff already,
Sure.
like a Courtney Kemp or a Rebecca Cutter.
Misha Green. Give me Misha Green.
I was just about to say Misha
I'll
Green.
do that in a heartbeat.
Right. But they are super active in engaging their fans. They're super active. But when you get the people that aren't active in engaging, and you put that interview up, and then it only gets like maybe 500 to 1,000 views, they become looking at you like,
they turn around and be like, "Oh, I thought this would have gotten more numbers," and I'm like, "Really? You really think that was gonna get me numbers? Really? Come on now."
Right.
Or you give me some producer, again, a producer that nobody knows their name, and like, what am I supposed to do with that? So it's one of those things where, like, you know, I feel like our people have always had like this struggle where we have to make the best out of like the worst stuff.
Oh yeah,
and you just gotta cook it up. You gotta spice it up some way, somehow.
Yes.
I remember I was
You've
doing
been
an
making
interview with what was it, Dustin Daniels, Shang-Chi's director, and I was like, "Hey man, y'all can even give me the lead actor," but okay. So I had to come up with a creative question that could give me a better headline. And it was something like, who do you want Shang-Chi to fight? And he was like, Spider-Man. And I was like, whoop, there's my headline. So I had to like make something out of nothing because nobody's Googling this dude, but they'll Google Spider-Man. They'll do that.
Right,
So,
exactly.
You have to get creative, even if you're not given the best assets. But yeah, those are kind of the challenges that, we still face to this day. And, it's a little frustrating because you put in the work for so many years. Again, I've been doing this since 2013, 2014. And I'm a part of like various critic organizations. By the way, if anybody wants to be a critic, that's a very good thing to try and do, because when you join an organization, one, if you're good enough for that organization, that shows that you're good enough to be valued elsewhere. Two, you also learn what the industry standards are, because in order to get into most critic organizations, you got to do things like write 50 reviews for the past 2 years, like every year, or you have to write a certain word count, or the videos have to be certain lengths. Like, you start to learn what the minimum bar is, and once you know that, now your work can be accepted almost everywhere else. But yeah, I mean, I'm in like Critics' Choice, Hollywood Critics, African American Film Critic Association. I'm a director of the Chicago Indie Critics. Like, all of these accolades. I'm a Rotten Tomatoes, approved critic. So, I get to play with the tomatoes and stuff up there that y'all see. All of that stuff still don't always matter, because and if we really got to get real about this,
go ahead.
There are, you'll have people like myself, Sister Sharonda, pay her weight. Definitely go check that channel out. You'll have people in our space who put in the work, got the numbers, and then you still see access go to people that like have a fraction of that and do nothing with it. And you just sitting here like, I thought this was a numbers game. I thought y'all wanted me to have the numbers and the accolades and all that, but yet other people are still getting in this back door and they're doing nothing with the opportunity. Like, that's also frustrating, right? So it's one of, I mean, you hear about how other people are getting flown out. They're getting flown out to the movie sets and all this, but then they're giving you the assistant producer. Like, what do we have to do? Because the frustration is just like, if you tell me it's a numbers game, cool, I will grind. I know that there's a finish line to get to, but when you don't, and it's all these weird things to get around and get in, it's super frustrating. But it's part of it. My thing, I think, because that's enough of the negative. The positive It's the fact that I get to connect with brothers like you, with Brandon, with Sharonda. Like, I get to connect with other people in this space. I absolutely love the E fam. That is all the people that come to my live chats on my channel, my subscribers. It's such a beautiful thing that when you're able to create content and share it with a community that shares in your same, likes and your same interests. That is what gets me going. Like, I'm every Wednesday and Friday, I get up and I'm like, well, got to do it live because the people are here. We got to talk. I need to hear their thoughts. They want to hear my thoughts. Let's get it.
Right.
So that is definitely one of those driving factors that makes it worth it. But yeah, the challenges are still there.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, you're getting straight gems dropped if you want to ever get yourself into doing TV and movie reviews. And right now we've got 175 people. Let us get 175 likes. Eman's link is in video description. It is also on the channels tab of my headliner on my YouTube channel. So go check them out. And Eman, with all the grinding you've done, you're literally about 2,000 subscribers away from 100K. You've done all these film critics. You've gotten in all these organizations. You've built a wonderful YouTube channel, which has given you, believe it or not, even with all the bad you said, it has given you a solid foundation to have a bullhorn. And you have used that bullhorn like a hammer here recently. I'm wearing a shirt for a brother we both love, Chadwick Boseman, in the MCU. And there's been all this chatter about not bringing back the character of T'Challa. And you started a movement to say, no, Marvel, we need that character for X, Y, Z reasons. And I'm going to play a little bit of a clip that you did with the news. Shout out to Monica Riles, Black Nurse, love you too. Thank you for the super chat. Of Eman doing a tour of the news to break down what it means and what the hashtag Recast T'Challa movement means. Take a look and then we'll get his firsthand opinions on what's going on.
Still get chills. Black Panther is more than just a superhero flick. For so many, it represents a cultural moment. And Chadwick Boseman will forever be remembered for his portrayal of T'Challa. But should he be recast? Tens of thousands of people who have signed a petition think so. A local film critic started it. We say good morning to Emmanuel Eman. Noizette, thank you for joining us this morning. I understand you're very close to your goal, 55,000 signatures, if not already there. Why did you start this petition?
So, first of all, thank you for having me. Look, in August of 2020, Chadwick Boseman passed away, and I think it hit all of us. In December of 2020, Marvel made the announcement that they did not want to recast the role. And I think that shocked me and a lot of other people because either you're going to throw that character in the background or you're going to kill him off. And that right there was definitely unsettling. So basically, I did a deep dive in Chadwick Boseman's interviews. He spoke to Roland Martin and told him that he wanted people to see the role and not him. That's the job of an actor, to do what you do with the role. So it was at that point I launched the petition, and it's very simple. We don't need an immediate recast. We're not saying someone else can't take up the mantle. We just don't want Marvel using Chadwick Boseman's real-life tragedy and passing as a plot device in their fictional storytelling.
His brother, Chadwick's brother, has supported this petition and this movement as well. He says he believes his brother would have wanted to be recasted. So what was your reaction when you heard that the brother weighed in here?
Yeah, listen, that was a great sense of validation. I mean, who better to know Chadwick Boseman than his own older brother? And it was just a very, very great sense of endorsement coming from the family.
Wow. Eman, just as a fan of your work and a fan of Chadwick Boseman and a fan of Black Panther, my brother, I got to give you a Hollywood clap for having the courage to put yourself out there and do this. This is for you. talk to us. Tell us where we're at in the movement, how it's going right now, and then I've got some people that are hating on this movement. And you don't have to use choice words, but hell, this is my channel. And I say whatever the hell I want to say on this channel. So take the floor, Eman. Talk to us about Recast.
Look, first of all, I agree with the brother that was on the TV earlier, we saw. But yeah, no, listen, those are the basic tenets of what Recast T'Challa is all about. All we're saying is like, yo, you don't have to rush it. Just do an eventual recast. Just don't end this character's his story. If you want to give the mantle to somebody else, fine. If you want to have him take a break, fine. But Chadwick Boseman worked way too damn hard for us to sit here and just retire the character so prematurely. It meant too much to people. It meant too much, especially for children that look up to these characters. And I don't want people. We can't sit here and act like the first Black Panther movie was so impactful culturally to then just be like, okay, let's just move on, from T'Challa's story. Like, come on now. If it meant something, then we should continue it, But right now, yeah, we're over 55,000, signatures, which is great. But here's the thing. Petitions are the foot in the door, because a lot of times I knew that we were never going to get the same level of support that, like, if it was something like make the Amazing Spider-Man 3, that'll get you millions, of signatures, or the Snyder Cut, release the Snyder Cut, whatever. That'll get you hundreds, millions, whatever. Because I know that T'Challa specifically, a lot of people just don't understand and they don't relate, and I get it because the character is new to them, even though they've been in all these Marvel movies. They don't understand the history, the culture, the heritage behind, the significance of the Black representation that comes along with him. It's sad because a lot of people think that he's expendable and you could just go to somebody else. And I'm like, if you start shuffling, if it's not T'Challa, who was literally created to be the embodiment of Black representation during the civil rights movement, no less.
Right.
Okay. That's why he is the first leading Black character in mainstream comics. He wasn't a side supporting, character. He wasn't a sidekick. He wasn't a jive turkey talking, character at the time. He was made to be basically our Superman, right? Like, so for me, I'm like, if we're not fighting for T'Challa, then what do you think is going to happen to everybody else? Like, everybody else is like, they're made almost in his image, in a sense, or better yet, I should say, they follow in his footsteps. It's because of T'Challa that we have the Dora Milaje. It's because of T'Challa that we see Black love on a whole new level when he gets with Storm. It's because of T'Challa that we have Shuri, because here's the thing, even while other characters are excelling, even while they're being pushed forward, T'Challa just being there, supporting Shuri, supporting Storm, just doing that reinforces not only the history and the heritage, but it also propels everything else moving forward. So it's one of those things where I'm like, it's worth fighting for. It's worth bringing up. And, like, we have a lot of work to do. It is not going to be a sprint. It's a marathon. I've told people that, this is not about, I don't care about how many signatures we get, because like I said, we're not going to get the hundreds of millions of people yet. What the petition does specifically, though, it gets the conversation started. And this is one of the things I wanted to highlight to people, is the fact that this petition is a conversation starter, because it's not like release the Snyder Cut where it's just fans that want to demand and get their movie. No, this is a conversation about Black representation. This is a conversation about honoring Chadwick Boseman. It's hard for us to sit here and say that we want to honor this guy, but then we want to put his work off on the shelf, or we want to kill his character off. Like, on his family's, I'm assuming it was his family estate that took over his Twitter when he passed away. The day he passed away, they posted and said it was the honor of his career to bring King T'Challa to life. They didn't mention Jackie Robinson. They didn't say James Brown. They didn't say Thurgood Marshall. And shout out to all of them and all the roles that he did. It was the honor of his career to bring King T'Challa to life. So for me, I'm like, if we're talking about honoring Chadwick, what sense does it make to potentially kill the character that he wanted to bring to life? It doesn't make sense. So I'm like, yo, Marvel, I'm a Marvel fan. I want it to succeed. I'm a Black Panther fan. I definitely want it to succeed. I want all the actors to eat. You know, I want everybody to get their shine. I want everybody to get paid. But what are we doing? I don't want to do that at the expense of one for the other. You know, like we sitting here watching 3 Spider-Man in one movie. We about to get multiple Batman in the Flash movie. We about to get another Batman movie. Recasting is how these characters stay relevant. It's why they get popular, because they keep perpetuating it. When was the last time you made a video about the $6 million man?
Never.
Ever. What about Mantis?
Never.
And I'm not talking about Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy.
I know which Mantis you're talking about.
Mantis.
Yeah, never.
Meteor Man.
Never.
Kids under 30, people under 30 have to Google these things because these characters have never been recast. So I'm like, yo, if we talking about we want to honor Chadwick, let's recast, keep the story going, and make him a beginning of a legend and not the end of one.
Absolutely. Man, you hit the nail right on the head with the essence of recast. It is to honor the legacy that was started by Chadwick Boseman. And if you saw him doing interviews and doing tours, this guy embodied that character. He showed up to hospitals where you had Black kids with sickle cell anemia, white kids with all kinds of other trauma, and all they was doing was Wakanda forever. And he was perfectly cool with it, whether he was dressed up, whether he wasn't. And to your point, Eman, about his legacy and about the character, a lot of I'm gonna just get real with you. A lot of white folks is intimidated by what that character stood for. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. You respond how you want to, but your boy gonna keep it real. And when you see a positive, strong Black man who knows how to engage with positive, strong Black women, he's giving you an example how you can behave in the way our culture is now, because most Black women are highly educated. They're powerful. They're like the Dora Milaje. And you see this man still being a man in that group. That completely intimidates a lot of whites. And there are a lot of whites that are trying to make up these felonious excuses, E-Man, as to why we should not see a recasting. And I got a clip of one right here. A very, very, very popular YouTuber who, I'm sorry to make y'all laugh, but she looks like she walked right off of the Fox News headlines. She looks like she's the same babe you can just stick on any Fox News report. Try to come for my man neck, and E-Man knows how to shut it down and don't even use profanity. Take a look at this.
Hashtag Recast T'Challa, a movement that has made significant strides in the past few months. I think on several occasions that I've seen getting to trend top 10 in the United States, which is significant.
Hey.
And one of you recently asked me to lend my voice to this or to comment on it. And I'm happy to do so because I'm very supportive of this. And I think I do see a way forward. So I want to do in this video is to break down the situation Marvel finds itself in, the realities of that situation, and what can still be done at this point going forward with T'Challa. Now, as I understand it, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, Recast T'Challa, the movement is based on 2 main points. 1, major characters are recast all the time in movies. Why is T'Challa, the star of a $1 billion picture and over 700 million domestic, any different? And 2, strong Black male characters in the blockbuster space, no less, are important role models, especially to children, and should be maintained. I think those are 2 excellent points, and they give the Recast T'Challa movement real weight. Now let's discuss Marvel's position and the realities of it. So first off, the MCU is one continuous story, going for more than a decade now, which is incredible, and I think a major cornerstone of its success. We're invested in it now, right? I mean, when other franchises stop and start, people can get on or off the train. But we've been riding this thing since day one. It's incredible. Very few characters over the course of that time have been recast, and all of them were either done in the very early days of the MCU when they were still finding their footing and perfecting their casting. And then also characters in later cases had those characters being recast, like Cassie Lang, they hadn't really been established yet. So recasting them isn't that noticeable. When James Bond has gotten recast, or Superman or Batman, the franchise in those instances has been rebooted. Now, recasting T'Challa at this point in the MCU, because it's not being rebooted, the MCU isn't being rebooted, would be almost impossible to do organically.
Damn, that's wrong. Woo, that's wrong. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. That's wrong. That's not correct. That is a problem.
E-Man, I'm gonna have to hit you with what the young people say nowadays. The fuck? See, this is why you need to keep these women on Fox News, because they all get cut from the same cookie cutter mold. Now, E-Man, when I heard that, I was so damn mad. I was like, bruh. And this ain't the first time this chick has been out of touch. Okay, so don't get it twisted. And she has a following of almost 1 million people who love her Fox News ass. All right. First and foremost, E-Man, before I give the floor to you, on what planet are you trying to tell, especially planets now where every one of these comic studios are doing multiverses? On what planet can you not recast T'Challa? Secondly, I'm upset that they keep trying to create these straw man arguments that makes themselves sound like they're smart as hell, like what she just said. You know, she put together something that sounded eloquent and nice all on the outside, and it ain't nothing but a fucking sugar donut. All sweet on the outside, a big ass hole take you through an abyss in the middle. Having said that, E-Man, the floor is yours. I'll let you wash soap in my mouth and clean this up, because that had me so mad.
Man, listen, look, I'm still dealing with her trolls that are still coming on to that video right there, and trying to cape for her. Like, people are really trying to cape for her because they're not listening to what I'm saying. You know, I specifically have said I don't know her personally, and I never go attack people ever. Go watch all whatever I put on there, because I'm very conscious of what I say on video.
You didn't attack her. You didn't even attack her in this.
Not even in this. Like, I don't attack people. I criticize what they say and what they do. That's a very, very big difference. Unfortunately, in today's society, people assume and associate holding people accountable with you're attacking, you're going out. And I'm like, man, y'all can miss me with all that noise, because I already know, you know, once you start making it a personal attack, you're going to reverse it. Oh, you're just attacking. We already know. I don't want the white tears. I don't want all the reversals. I don't need no Karen Kung Fu done on me. Okay, so we're not going to go there with that. But what I did do, I made sure to precisely point out what the problem is, because she has been in the game longer than me. She's been in the game doing this YouTube thing before YouTube was popping off like that, you know, and that was one of the reasons why she has 940,000 subscribers right now. So for me, I'm sitting here like, okay, you've been in this game. You do the same thing I do. Like, you report on the news, you give your opinion, your take, and all that. Why is it that you're doing this? And you so-called, the title of her video was that she was going to do a breakdown of Recast T'Challa. And I'm sitting here like, okay, let's go. Let me see what you got. And here's the thing. It's not about you got to say everything E-Man says. It's not about you got to agree with everything I say. You don't have to do that. That's okay. All I ask for is fair reporting, right?
Right.
And plenty. Google this right now. If you Google Recast T'Challa, the very first thing that pops up is the petition. And that's the one thing I've told people. Don't judge this off the hashtag. Don't judge it off of what 2-3 people done said on Twitter. Judge it by what we say and what the 55,000 people have signed on to agree. Judge it, because I put all the wording in there very carefully so that way nobody can go changing the narrative. We've seen how people change the narrative when it comes to Black Lives Matter. And they be like, whoa, what you mean? All lives matter. No. See, I'm not trying to go down that route. I'm like, I've specifically laid everything out. Matter of fact, I just updated it to make some of the points clearer, even clearer. If you keep scrolling down, you'll see the points are nice and just boom, 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 right there. Just right there. This is not this. It's not that. This is what this is about. And, you know, because I didn't want nobody misconstruing this. But this lady did not even go bother Googling it. She just went off of what a couple people told her that the petition or that this campaign was about, and decided to go inform her almost 1 million subscribers on what she just heard. This is like saying, hey, I got a term paper I got to do. So instead of doing the research and using primary sources, I'm going to just have somebody tell me what happened in the book. I ain't going to read the book, and then I'm going to write a paper on that. And I'm sitting there like,
she was like, I'm going to go get the dollar store Cliff Notes. That's what I'm going to do.
Right. Not even that. She going to have her cousin, you know, Johnny, tell her what happened, and then she going to go off of that. And I'm like, yo, that's not cool because you're not informing the people properly. Notice she didn't even mention like the biggest, one of the main things of Recast T'Challa, which is we want to keep the character alive. That was it. That was the biggest point. We don't want Chadwick's death used as a plot device. When you say that, most of the time people will be like, wow, I didn't even think about that. Let me actually, you know, evaluate this. But she just went to, like you said, it's kind of a straw man because she went to some of the supporting, you know, minor arguments for Recast T'Challa, which is there have been other recasts. This is a good representation for young kids. Those are minor supports. That's not the main thing. So if you sell people on the minor stuff, it's easier to knock those things down. That's what she went through. Her whole thing was like, oh, well, you know, recasting only happens if you reboot. And like she gave all these excuses. So for the uninformed and unaware audience, they're like, this seems fair and balanced. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's misleading. It's misinformation. I'm not saying she's lying. I'm saying she's not being accurate. She's not being fair with her reporting. And I can't let her off the hook. She's too much of a veteran. She done this. She done interviewed like celebrities, and she goes to red carpets. She has insider information. She's too much of a this ain't some new person off the street.
No,
you know,
not
she ain't some young person that don't know better. She old. She's old. Okay. She know better. So there was no way I was about to let her off the hook. And I know I was gonna get pushback because people just want to cape for her or whatever. But I'm like, no, the biggest issue, and I would say the one thing that is a straight up, I'll just say it's a lie. I'll say it's a lie because she tried to play it and say that to recast is nearly impossible for Marvel to do. I'm like, that's a lie. And that's a straight up lie because we have a long history. We have a long history of Marvel doing everything and anything they want. I tell people this all the time. Marvel can do whatever they want. They have schedules, they have time restraints, they got money, they have challenges, but they can still do whatever they want.
Now think about it like this. You remember the first Iron Man movie?
Yep.
Who was Captain Rhodey in the first Iron Man movie?
Terrence Howard.
Next movie, damn, it was like Fresh Prince. We had a light skin when the first time, then we got a dark skin Rhodey in the next movie.
Yep.
Same continuity here. Yep. I mean, like you said, they can do what they want to, and
they did it with the Hulk too.
Right. Did it with the Hulk too, and to shore up your point. I went to her one of her web pages, and this is what Eman means when they say use the character as a plot device. Look at this bull job right here. Calling it now, been saying it for months. Actually, laugh out loud. Namor is going to kill T'Challa. Don't nobody want to see that. Don't nobody want to see that. That's a plot device. That is a plot. These two characters are kind of like, except for I'm going to make a loose comparison. they're kind of like Batman and Joker, except for they're way more powerful. He's way more powerful than the Joker. But they have a love-hate relationship with each other. And when things go awry, sometimes they do come together, and it's great to see it in the comics. But then they have their issues because they want to be isolation nations, one in the water, one on land, and they have to fight each other. And to say you want Namor in the very second Black Panther movie to have a scene where he's killing T'Challa, Marvel, you got to do better than that. And that's what Eman is saying when he's saying use something as a plot device. Floor is back yours, Eman.
Well, the reason why I wanted to emphasize that was because the problem people had, and it's not just Marvel. Marvel has said this.
No.
Nate Moore specifically has said this, but also fans. Tying the actor to the character. That is problematic. I posted a video where Chadwick Boseman himself said that it is debilitating and it is frightening when people say that there can only be one. You know, when we try and say only one Black actor at a time can do this or do that or be this role or appear in a movie, because it causes like this this divide between actors, and they almost got to fight for these things. And they don't like that. The actors don't like that because guess what? White actors don't have to deal with that like that. You know, you can have an Ocean's 11 and have Brad Pitt there and George Clooney and have all of that. But if it's a Black movie with a Black lead, you can only have maybe Denzel, maybe Will Smith, but you can't have them both. You can't have them both there at the same time. It's a problem. So that's one of the reasons why we don't want to keep confining Black characters with the actors and tying them together. Because as I've said before, if you tie them together and say that T'Challa is Chadwick and Chadwick is T'Challa, well, then guess what? Whatever you do to T'Challa, you're doing to Chadwick. So if you want to go killing T'Challa in your movie, you're now killing Chadwick all over again. And I'm sitting here like, yo, can we stop double downing on Black Death? Can we stop? We can't control real life, but we can control the fiction and the stories that we tell. And I'm like, these movies are an escape. Let them be an escape. And you, to your earlier point about recasting, I want people to realize something. Recasting happens when you find value in the story and the character to continue.
Yes.
Okay. They found value in Rhodes and his story to just recast. They needed Tony to have his best friend, his sidekick. They needed that to happen. So they was like, man, just recast. They found value in the Hulk and his character to just recast. It didn't matter why. It didn't matter because they had creative differences with Ed Norton. All that stuff don't matter. The point is,
to that point,
it had to continue.
And to the point with the Hulk, they don't even have the rights to him, and they still made it happen.
At that time, they did. They do now, but yes.
Oh, they do now.
At that time, they didn't even have the rights, but they saw the value of how important it was to have the Hulk present and have his story continue. They continued the Hulk story across multiple movies. Age of Ultron, Thor, Ragnarok, so on and so forth. So the thing is, when you say you don't want to recast, but I see what you do when you recast other roles, to me, it comes off as those roles are important. Those characters are important. But I'm seeing a contradiction when you say you don't want to recast T'Challa, whose story is not complete. So you don't find value in continuing his story? What do you want to do? Substitute his story through other people? So if Robert Downey Jr. passed away after the first Iron Man movie, his story had not finished, you gonna continue his story through Pepper Potts, through Rhodey? Like that's gonna be the winning formula. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's a contradiction in the logic. And I'm like, don't let T'Challa sit here and be your experiment for that stuff. I get where Marvel's coming from. I'm sure they mean very well. But I'm like, I'm gonna need y'all to look at the bigger picture here too.
Hey, well said. And I'm gonna get you out of here on this. You said you had some exclusive news you about to drop as we try to get you on this offering. Well, we here for it, my brother. Shout out to all 200 of y'all watching. Please give us a like. Go check my man out. His link is in video description and on my featured channels tab. Puts out excellent content, rated G content, and the brother is on point. He knows what he's talking about. So what you got, E-Man? What's these exclusives? We need some exclusives over here.
Couple things. For one, I want people to keep an eye out for Recast T'Challa on Twitter during Black History Month. We going hard. At least once a week, we gonna go viral. At least. It doesn't take much. All you got to do is go on Twitter and follow me. I'll communicate on what days and what times we're gonna do it, but we gonna push the algorithm and trigger it to trend, and it's gonna force people to have the conversations. We're going to do that at least once a week in February. And again, follow me and I'll definitely keep you on board and up to date with that. But what I was gonna say was that I just got done talking to another pretty popular YouTuber. This brother's got like 500,000 subscribers.
Damn.
He's made a couple Recast T'Challa videos that I had a couple issues with, because at first he was saying we were attacking Marvel and this. I was like, whoa, brother, wait a minute. I'm gonna need you to report this accurately now. So I reached out. They agreed to have a conversation, and I believe, like right now, if you're a paid subscriber, you can watch it. But he is gonna drop it on Saturday, I believe, and that is on Comic Book Cast. If you go to the Comic Book Cast YouTube channel, so again, 500,000 people about to listen to this and actually hear what we're talking about when we talk about Recast T'Challa. I mean, honestly, I just had one of his paid subscribers who just listened to it hit up my Grace video. Was like, yo, I just saw you. I just heard what you said. I signed the petition. It makes sense to me now, because a lot of times people just have to hear the message and not just read the hashtag to really understand the full scope of what we're talking about. So be on the lookout for that. It's coming out soon. I'll be sharing it as well. But yeah, I was very, very appreciative of the fact that he gave me that opportunity to talk. I mean, we went for a full 50 minutes, like just going in, talking about this, talking about toxic fandom, talking about the misconceptions, just really going in. So I think it'll be a very helpful video for a lot of people and for the movement as well.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, that is big time, because a lot of people can't voice the opinions of what minorities feel because they haven't been in our skin. And that's what I've seen with a lot.
He admitted that. Now, props to him. He was like, man, I'm just a white guy. I don't know. So you're right. You're right.
Thank you. Which is why we're so glad that we are friends with E-Man, my brother. I'm so thankful you came here and joined us. I will make sure that I put this on the Life Gains podcast as well for those that want to listen to your soothing, analytical voice as you break down these movies, these comments, and you make it something that we all can appreciate and we enjoy and share. Any closing words you want to get to people before we get out of here, E-Man?
Hey, look, I would just say that if you're interested in Recast T'Challa, don't judge the hashtag. Go on to the petition, change.org/Recast T'Challa. Judge us by what is in the actual petition, and even if you agree, if you disagree, that's cool too. We just want this to be a conversation starter, so that way we understand that, hey, these movies are these heroes, these role models are made for children primarily, but they also affect adults too, and they matter. They mean something, but outside of that, you can always come and check out my channel as well.
Please do
either Star Wars or Disney Plus shows on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Central Time, and every Friday at 7 p.m. Central. You definitely don't want to miss them live chats. They get very interesting. I'll say that. But yeah, you don't want to miss that and have a really, really good time there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, you have heard it from the man, E-Man. I'm happy to be associated with your crew. Thankful that you came and gave us an opportunity to help me build on the Recast T'Challa legacy right here, and for just being a homie, man. Grateful. You're welcome to this place anytime you want to come. And subscribers, check this man out. You got young kids that want to get into film and movie critics. This is the man they need to go look to. So, having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here, but we have Random TV Reviews joining us next Wednesday. I know a lot of you guys love them. And let's not forget, I still got that big interview coming with Crystal Lee Brown, Emmy-nominated actress. She will be here next Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. She's doing a new show, and she's coming back for Hightown Season 3. And until that next Sexy as Hell video, which will be tomorrow at 9 p.m., we'll see you.